I'm done believing people, really. I want to experience myself. And Darius said, you can. And I said, okay, I go for it. And one of the interests that were in the group was, let's go to Antarctica, because everybody is curious, or most people are curious what's really going on there. But yes, I saw military stuff going on. I also saw how well those initiatives are being protected by modern weaponry and technology. I also saw a few humans, but they were enslaved and brainwashed and drugged down. But I mean big time drugged down to do the thing that they had been recruited for. So if you choose as a soul to believe some bullshit that somebody told you, that you are in a prison planet and you can't come out unless you do this or not at all, then you take on that illusion and you manifest it.
Okay, so surprise, surprise, we have another Darius student on the podcast. However, her name is Laura. She's been familiar with out-of-body stuff since she's a little girl. So grew up kind of in the family talking about it. So not super woo-woo, not super weird for her. But Darius's method inspired her to try it because he talked about the physicality of it, and she'd never experienced anything like that. So we dove into that and how it changed things for her, but also her practice, like the thing that she has created on her own. She's a energetic healer. So when she pops out, she's going to find you, or people that book sessions with her, and she finds you energetically while you're asleep. And then she will report back. And oftentimes she has to do therapy with like beings that can attach to you and like all kinds of wild stuff. So I was super excited to talk about her because I'd heard about people like her through Robert Monroe's books and through another book called Voyages into the Unknown by Bruce Moen. So super excited to talk to Laura. We do go down some rabbit holes about Antarctica. She confirmed a lot of things I've heard from other people. She dropped some new stuff that I've never heard. Trying to stay away from being the conspiracy guy or channel, but if I find something interesting, I'm going to talk about it. So really good conversation. And I think you guys will love it too. So let me know down below in the comments. Just want to also say thank you guys for being here. The growth has been really exciting and I don't know, just humbling, and I'm super grateful. So thank you guys. It means a lot to me. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So I went to your website and I was looking at your sessions that you do, your healing sessions. Do I have this correctly? Do you use basically an out-of-body experience to visit them and you like see them energetically while they sleep? Tell me about this.
Physical kind that Darius teaches. So when I first learned this, or the skeleton of this, because there's a whole lot of things that I'm using, that are mine. I mean, I developed them over the years, just my style. But there are a few things that actually I learned from a Native American, a Susquehannock, and he called that an out-of-body state. So that was his name for it. But it's not, I mean, energetically, you can, yourself, you can feel everything. I mean, it's mind-blowing sometimes what you experience, but it's not exactly the same thing as this very, very grounded physicality that Darius says his OBEs, or the real OBEs are, and that I've also experienced. So I know the difference very well. But there are a lot of people amongst who this particular Native American that taught me this way, that call it an out-of-body state.
Okay. So let's say I booked a session with you, because on your website it says it happens when you're sleeping. And I'll just say this. There's a book I read, I have it right here. It's called Voyages into the Unknown. I don't know if you've read this before.
No.
But it's by Bruce Moen. And it's he talks about meeting a therapist, and this girl came to this therapist. He's a guy who can go out of his body. And she's like, why don't you meet me on the astral plane and I'll show you what I do? And she like in the book, she goes with him, he meets her. And this woman had said she suffers from depression. And there's this like this feeling that she can't shake no matter what she does. And it's been years and years and years of trying to figure this out. And when they found her in the astral plane, I'm summarizing, of course. There was this like black hole in her energetic body, and the healer was like, she was like doing some, and he said, I don't know what she did. I just sat back and watched as she kind of worked on it. I think she used a technique she called non-seeing, which was like basically you have to visualize it not there, because when you actually acknowledge it, it means, I don't know. She had this whole thing about it, but it sounded to me when I read your website, I was like, I wonder if she's doing that or if it's something
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
different. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm doing this kind of thing.
Whoa.
Yeah, in many, many, many variations. So yeah, I mean, it's my passion, so I love to talk about that.
I love the idea of being able to go out of my body and help people like that. So tell me what it's like. Let's say I booked a session with you. We plan a day, like you would say, okay, Jordan, tonight you go to bed as normal. Tomorrow we'll have a phone call. Like how does it work? What
Yeah,
does it look
yeah,
like?
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
walk me
So
through that a little
first,
bit.
yeah, first we have a call, to get to know each other a bit, and if there are questions as to well, how do these sessions go and everything, I can answer those questions, and the person uh, gets a little time to put together all the questions that he wants to ask me, because when I'm up, then I may as well take all the questions that this person has. I mean, if there isn't an answer, then there isn't. But if there is, it's nice, So then people put their questions in a mail or during this talk, and then we say, okay, so we agree upon this and this time. I'm doing my session. They take a long time, on average 8 hours or so. And the day after, we have a follow-up video call, and then I tell everything in detail that I have seen, the dialogues, word by word, super detailed, everything that has happened, and all the information that I got. And then the client can say, okay, so I recognize that, and I recognize that, and that I don't recognize, or whatever. But so apart from getting the information, it's not a reading. I'm not so interested in doing readings. I'm interested in help people shift so that they can find themselves in order to become really free, by finding their own path to really become free. You see?
What are people typically coming to you for? Like, is it depression? Or is it more like, hey, I'm stuck in my life? Like, what are,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So mostly it's people that have gone through traumas, like mind-blowing traumas, sometimes, and psychiatrists or psychologists, or I mean, they've tried all kinds of things, and they help maybe to a certain extent, but not to get rid of the whole thing, So that is one. So then I have to find the core of the trauma, why the trauma is there, the core of the agreement to get this trauma, which is always outside of this temporary life, you know? So then we're really talking about soul to soul level, because that's where the information comes from, you
I was
see?
just gonna ask that. I was like, who are you working with on this? Like, what does it look like on your end? Are you going into a deep
Different.
meditation?
Well, yeah, I could give you examples of that. I mean, first, for everybody, it's very different. It's very
Okay.
different. But so what I see first is, let's say, an energetic image of the client, the way he is feeling now, with all the suffering, with all the blockages, with all the, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm wasting my life away, and I don't know what the purpose is, and I want, well, all those things. And then certain things stand out, and I try to, and I start to explore those. We're always in a team. So in this healing space, there's the allies and the friends from the other side of the veil of that person, and also my allies. And we're working in the team, and I'm always asking permission to that other soul and to his or her allies, you know? And sometimes my allies, my friends say, "Hey, take notice of that. Take notice of that." It's a bit of a process.
It
We
sounds
do
so
it all
cool.
together. But
Mm.
then what happens is, you know, um, different expressions of that person can pop up that are active on different realms.
Wow.
Um, Mythical beings, galactics.
What do you mean? What does that mean? Like,
Oh, I mean,
give me an
like
example.
Pleiadians or whatever they're all called.
Mm.
Like all kinds of creatures, say beings from different planes could come in, but that depends very much on what is necessary for that specific person. Sometimes it stays really down to earth. Sometimes it goes into ancestral issues. So then I get to meet all the dead grandpas and grandmas, you know.
Wow.
And often, or almost always, the cluttering of, like, let's say, burdens that make it difficult for the person to see and to get to this way up towards the light, or, well, way up to it's a tricky phrase, but um, they always have entities in their field that are sticking to them. That could
Mm.
be ancestral issues. For instance, a grandpa that hasn't passed well, or that had uh, an awful role, in this person's life, and stays there because of guilt or because of attachment or whatever. All these beings that are burdening my client, I have to go into therapy with all those beings so that I can seduce them to voluntarily take their influence from my client. So actually, it's a liberation of not only my client, but also of all the beings burdening my client. And what I try to do is to get them all to the light. And
Wow.
and that's working out. It's but with everybody, it's a totally different experience.
Has it ever not worked? Has it ever been like, has there any been a blockage where it's like, I don't know, some being is like, no, I don't want to. Has that ever happened? Were they
Very,
denied being helped?
very, very seldom I find, like, I mean, I had some grandpa or somebody who had done incest, on my client, and he is not ready to go to the light or whatever.
Wow.
But I can, if that happens, and it happens, it doesn't happen a lot. I mean, I've done hundreds of these sessions, and maybe it was a handful of those.
Ha-
But then I can separate them. Then I can make sure that they're out of the field of my client. They go their own way with their helpers, and they're not going to bother my client anymore. Yeah.
Wow. I wonder, so have you ever dealt with someone with addiction issues? And I wonder what that
Oh,
typically looks
yes.
like, because
Yeah.
I've struggled with my whole life with that. So I'm always curious, like, I wonder, is that an energy or something going on there that, like, I don't
Well,
know. I'm always
the
curious what that looks
addiction,
like.
is there or has been there for a reason. I have helped people that used to use a lot of drugs, for instance.
You're
And
talking to one.
well,
You're
okay,
talking.
I love you. um, so then sometimes something in the fibers of that person has become confused because of the use of too many drugs. But there has always been a reason or two to get addicted in the first place. And most of the time, there is a great sensitivity there that was not recognized enough by the surroundings. People didn't know how to deal with that, and then you start using drugs, or, I mean, mostly it's something like that. But those are the they're beautiful people. It's
Mm.
I mean, it's for me. It's always it sounds funny, but it's always it's a pleasure to work with them because those are the people that came here that are very close often to the consciousness that they came here with a purpose.
Mm.
And they came are like so courageous to take on really difficult things in life. To deal with those like, yeah, I can do this. I came here with a purpose. And I want to experience a few things myself before I can even help other people.
Mm.
And that is the trick. A lot of sensitive persons with these kind of gifts. We all know, well, not all, but many people know by now that it's not something special. It's something that we could all experience, this kind of abilities, right? But the people that are closest to that need to be able to be on the same level to really have compassion out of their own experience with the people that they want to help get back to the light. And therefore, you cannot be a holy person in a white robe because, I mean, imagine in your most difficult time, in life, if a white robe being would pop up in the street and say, hey, I can help you. And you can tell from this person that he hasn't gone through the shit,
Mm.
you know.
Mhm.
Then you
Mhm.
go fuck yourself.
Mhm.
I'm not interested. But when somebody reaches out that you can feel that he has been on this level and he got out and he was inspired, then you can start to believe that maybe you can do it yourself as well. So
Oh
that is
yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
reason, you know. So that is the reason why a lot of sensitive people choose big shit to eat their way through so that their compassion is so great, so huge.
I
Yeah.
love that. Okay. Um, so what is it about Darius that got you interested in him? Because you sounds like you've had experiences your whole life, right? Some sort of out of body, like
Yeah.
you've been having experiences, but then you found Darius.
Well,
What? How?
actually,
What
it's
is?
nice to tell this. Actually, it's nice to tell this. Um, I'm not new to ghost stuff, magic, black magic, and all that. I was sort of raised with that because I have partly family. My father is from Indonesia, so I have, and there are quite a few magical people in his lineage. But that was all about, mainly actually about black, sometimes white magic, and the ability to see ghosts.
What's the difference between white magic and black magic?
Oh, there you got
Is it good
philosoph.
magic, bad magic, basically?
Well, yeah, like black magic would be the magic that you, in whatever way, want to profit from.
Mm. Okay. It's nefarious. It's like using it with not the best intentions.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. This is an interesting topic though, but we can go there into that maybe some other time or later on. So that was my background, right? But there were like 10 years that I didn't want to have anything to do with, not with esoteric or nothing, nothing. And then I got ill, and I didn't believe that the doctors could help me, which was true. And I stayed ill for 14 years. And then I thought, okay, so if the doctors can't help me, I'm going to do some self research. So I dove into myself and I went looking for my traumas and for what can I have been doing that caused this situation for me, you know? And then I started to meditate, and then I got into these adventures, which I think a lot of people would call astral traveling. I used to call it trance traveling. And it was actually very easy. And I think I can teach everybody. I mean, it's so easy. Um, but then during those 14 years, I had the time on my hands because I was handicapped. I really, I couldn't do much. So I did a lot of meditations and I remembered so many past lives and there were these guides and they taught me so many things. For instance, who is to be trusted? How can you discern, what kind of being is to be trusted and which is not? They taught me so many things. But then, after all these years, when I saw Darius, he said two things that really got my interest, and one of it is when you go out of body, everything is physical, and even more physical than this. And I went like, what? I mean, my experiences have been very intense. I mean, I guess you know yourself, like you can have these energy shifts of these happenings that you go, whoa, like reverberate.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if when people would tell me about their drug trips, I would say, or I would think, well, that's what I'm doing, but a bit cheaper,
Yeah.
you know. So, but physical, like this, no. Although this Native American that taught me this scheme of this session had said that he went to places where things were as physical as our physical reality. And that
So that
I
triggered it. You're like, oh, Jerry has said it. This guy said it. And it says,
yeah, so there must be something, and maybe even something that I can reach, because I didn't want to take his word for it. I'm done believing people, really. I want to experience myself. And Darius said, you can. And I said, okay, I go for it. But there was one more thing. He said, once you get out of your out of body, out of your own dimensional spaces, what he calls it, your individual manifestations, parallel past lives, dreamscape, all those, different personal things. Outside of that, there is these realms, other realms, within the construct. And the construct is a fixed reality. It's a fixed truth. And there are fixed truths. And you can even get out of the construct. And that was also a big surprise because I had come to the conclusion that that there's really only perception. And there's not one truth. There's only subjective perception. And in the end, we all flow together into this unity mix, and then that's it. Then we are the light, and that's it. That is very much also what in the New Age era has been taught to everybody, and also in the Gnostic theories, and actually in so many religions, like I think Buddhism does, and
yeah.
and that is tricky. I mean, or it's simply not true. But I thought I want to see this for myself. So I started practicing because I don't want to take anybody's word on anything anymore. I want my own experience. It's the only way to be sure. Yeah.
Okay. And so it's so fascinating to me, Laura, because I've talked to so many people now. I mean, not a ton of people, but a good amount. And I see it in my comments. I see it everywhere. The question always is like, why does this person swear, someone who's done hundreds of OBEs, swear that we are in a prison planet, that we are prisoners, right? And then why do some people like Darius swear that you could pop out of this construct, right? And
Okay,
there's like,
very good
why?
question. Very good question. My opinion on this is that that person that is talking about the prison planet does not emerge from his personal dimensional spaces.
I agree with that. I actually think it's a belief thing, right? I think it has
Yeah.
to be. It has to be.
And he manifests that. I mean, things, when you believe them very strongly, they get manifested. But you are still outside of this manifestation, this illusion that really feels like a prison planet. You're still this super, super almighty powerful soul that cannot be controlled by anyone unless, says Darius, you believe it to be so. So if you choose as a soul to believe some bullshit that somebody told you, that you are in a prison planet and you can't come out unless you do this or not at all, then you take on that illusion and you manifest it. But it's still all beliefs. And what you really are is a soul that is so much greater than that. And that's why we all need to remember ourselves. Because then we are really free. Then you can
And
just, like, I have always believed, from a certain age, in karma, reincarnation, and that, you know. I think 2 years ago, there was a moment I was sitting in a parlor and I told myself, you know what? I am done with this whole reincarnation bullshit. And I didn't even know Darius at the time. I don't believe it anymore. I don't want any more of that. And I felt it fall away. So this belief of I have to try harder, I didn't do the perfect job here, I have to come back to do a better job. I apparently haven't learned this particular thing yet, and I have to come back to do it again. No, that is lies. That is a misconception. It's misunderstanding. And it has been abused also. This misunderstanding has been abused to keep us here. The people who do that, keep us here, are people that are not able to get out, in my opinion, to get out of their dimensional spaces and the roof that they placed over them. They need self-forgiveness to be able to recognize that they are love. Also, they are love and eternal souls. So they stay here and they need the other ones to feed upon. And that's hence the lies about this wheel of reincarnation. We have to come back and we have to do a better job and we have to da-da-da. Nah. You're a soul and you can decide, nah, I'm done with this game. I don't play it any longer.
I try my best not to get into this place of like playing too much devil's advocate, but I can't help it. Like sometimes I go like, okay, but then like this person, that is their experience. Just like you said, it's all about experience, right? Like you were tired of it. You're like, I'm tired. I want to experience this. I've talked to people who are genuinely like, this is my experience. I'm telling you, I've heard their theories too. It's not like they're oblivious to this idea that you can pop out. They're saying like, look, I'm telling you, I go out and I've asked these questions. I've gone, and it all leads me back to this answer. And so I'm like, that's fascinating because that person, they're not like, I almost feel like they don't want to believe that it's a prison planet either, but they're like, it's just, it's it's what I'm seeing. And then I hear people like Darius and you and so many others, and I go like, well, also, isn't that a belief? like that, and maybe that's why you're seeing that. Like, I don't
Exactly.
know, and I kind of go
And
like,
that
I
was
don't know.
and that was my question also. And I need to experience this for myself to be
Hmm.
sure for myself. And then what any other person believes of what I'm saying, it's not even important because everybody gets to experience those things for themselves. I mean, it is of no value actually. For you, for instance, what I'm saying, the thing that is of value is what you are experiencing, right? But I have experienced both. I have been a lot in my dimensional spaces. I saw a lot of psychopaths and very creepy people, hooded beings, monsters. I've seen them all. Uh, I've done therapy with them. I've worked with them.
Wow.
And I have also gone out of these dimensional spaces. I've also gone out of the construct.
Can you talk
And
about
what?
that?
Yeah, sure.
Was your experience the same as Darius, like as he sees it, or was it a little different?
Um, I didn't see as much. I went out, and apparently my attention was immediately drawn towards the construct, and I saw that as can see a ball of water. The first thing that struck me was the feeling that I had, because it was I went up and I went through the waters, which was not difficult at all, like this firmament, and I went out, and the energy was absolutely different, like instantly. And that for me is a total proof, of me really going out, you see.
Mm.
So I was so huge, there was no end to me. I was so huge. And the words were, above all, peace, but so encompassing that I didn't even want to give it more words, because all the words are primitive boxes that cannot contain what I felt. But it was huge. And my attention was immediately drawn to the construct. So I saw the construct. I didn't take the time. I didn't choose to look around and see, because, to be honest, my mind is very curious to see if that looks like the images that Darius gives us. You
Hmm.
see?
Hmm.
That is my mind. Apparently, my soul wanted a different thing. So I was looking at this watery ball, and I saw the construct with all these levels within it. And also on the deepest level where we're at, my attention was drawn to that, and I saw this layer of suffering people, and also the worst, like the children in wars, and the children abused and violated and tortured, and the real bad shit happening here. But my attention was drawn even under that, and then I touched on the layer of the beings, not only humans, the beings that cause this suffering. Those are the dictators, the violators, the torturers, the politicians, the people that do this kind of thing. And I saw and I felt, because I feel all those things. I know them, I feel them. The suffering in that layer was even grander than the suffering of the victims. And that was a surprise for me. I didn't know that. And I also saw why. Because they are totally cut off from love. And that is absolutely the worst place to be. to live in this illusion, because it's an illusion. They will get home eventually, that you're cut off from love and you need another thing like power or money or lush, which is a reality. I've seen that. Or whatever it is, that you think you need from other people, and that's why you keep them captive. That's why you organize the cattle. To not become conscious so they will escape. So the only thing that they can do to go on with their game is to feed on the victims, on everybody here trying to feed on them. But the loneliness and the lack and all that was so great that I think I've never felt a compassion that big. And I must say, and here my own traumas help, actually. I mean, I could say this as a white-robed person, like, you know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but I can say, listen, I have been through these traumas, and I remember, and I worked my way through them, violation and all that, and incest and all those things. So I know, I have an idea what suffering is. It's not that I say that these people are doing good or that they should be. I mean, nothing of the sort. I really see the pain that they cause. Let's put it that way. But I can also see how difficult it is for them to forget themselves, and that is the key. That is the key. So what I try in these sessions, or what I do with them, is I have these entities in front of me, and I try to help them remember, hey, actually, there's something else than this particular game that I am playing now, or the way that I'm sucking energy from my client, there is, actually, I remember vaguely, there was something else, and I piqued their interest to go there. And that always has, they can only find their way back when they are willing to give up something here that they're doing here, and of course to forgive themselves. And sometimes I need to do a lot of therapy on those beings. Like last week, I had a very, very impressive one, if you want to hear that.
I would love to. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
That was a person that had cast a spell on my client to believe that the client could never get out of his shit, that she would always be pulled back. That was the spell. And this person, I had a long talk with him, and it turned out that he had started as a victim. He was recruited, say, to be fed upon. And then he was pushed into the situation where he had to feed on others, to hurt other children. This was about children and innocence, okay? So he was taken out, he was abused, and then he was forced to abuse or hit or hurt other children to an extent that he understood that he could never go back to that innocence because he was a perpetrator himself. right? So then when he got that, like, I can't get out, there's no way to get out too, because my parents have not been too attentive. I mean, here at least I get some admiration or some confirmation, because that's the illusion that they gave him. I don't have loving parents, nothing, so there's actually nothing to go back to. So he stayed in the game and then decided to become on top of it. Like, when I get better at this, then I will be hurt less. So then you go from one little thing to a bigger, to more hurtful things that you're doing to other people, to more and more and more, because you want to be on top of the game, to be hurt less. Okay. And then, till a certain moment, that he was fed up with this and thought, this is not okay, I don't want this anymore, I want out. And then he found out that he couldn't get out. So then suicide became the thing, So he committed suicide. And then who is there on the other side? People that are part of his illusion, that had made him believe, like, we are the ones that dominate you, that tell you what to do and what not to do, and there has always been punishment, And they told him, you thought that you could come out this way? Well, guess what? No, you can't, because your debt is too big. So you cannot go to the light. You have to go back and be punished, so then you can pay off your debt. And that's how he came into this cycle of debt and victimization and perpetrators that he could never get out of, because he believed what they were telling him.
When you
And
say
then,
they, you're talking about the spirits, right? Or some form of on the other side is what you're saying. Some beings.
yes, because they all are part of this particular manifestation of this particular expression of the duality, the victims and the perpetrators. Yes, there are some people on the other side waiting for these kind of people to convince them, the only person ever that is going to judge you after you die, guess who that is?
Yourself.
And that is really true. But if you have a very strong belief that there are people stronger than you that have the power to keep you in your misery, then you will still have that belief just after you died, and they will, force you, or you feel forced by them, would be a better phrase, to go back and get punished more or do more of this stuff, until you have this belief that there really is no way out. So this guy was doing this, and he was feeding, because, they need to be here. They need a sort of, let's say, alimentation. As long as you're not cut off totally from love, you have this flame in your heart, and and that is the path. Your love, your heart is the path to who you are in your entirety, you see? So I tried to make him remember this innocence that he had left, that he was robbed out, stolen from, as a kid, few lives back. And we reached the point that he understood, that he said, yeah, you can tell me a whole lot of nice stuff, but you, holy moly, you don't know nothing, And I said, well, I haven't been holy moly all my life. I remember past lives where I was fucked and a bastard. I have fucked the lives of other people, you know. So I know. And then he asked, so how did you get out of that? And I explained to him by finding out that this is a rut that I was in, and it would always stay the same. And that would, from this plane, there is no way back to love. I would have to forgive myself because I am the only one that judges me. And he said, there is too much for me to forget. So how did you do that? I mean, the shit that I've done, that was not good. That was not just stealing an apple or something. No. I seriously fucked up people's lives, you know. So how did you do that? And I said, one step at a time, bit by bit by bit. And then you can, every little bit will be a relief, and will you give the feeling of, hey, this is maybe doable. So he started by taking out the spell from my client. And he said, I'm sorry that I did that. He did not ask forgiveness from that person, which is a very important distinction, because getting someone's forgiveness doesn't help you per se to forgive yourself. You know? So he said, I'm sorry. And then at a certain moment, I mean, there was some time going on. I think I've worked on this person for at least 1 hour, an entire hour. And it was only the part of the session for this client. But it's important. It's super important, you know. So we went on until we would be successful. And then at a certain point, I had him sitting at the bars towards this area of innocence. Behind the bars, there was this area of innocence, of playing children. And he had put the bars there himself. And he was sitting before those bars, and he was saying, I'm sorry, you know, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that, you know what, and he slumped down. He was like, and I saw that it was so genuine at a certain moment that he was not doing this to get any effect of this, but he was like being really, really deeply sorry, and he was like this. And at a certain point, there were white-robed beings, like those very light beings, and they came towards him, and they lifted him up under his armpits. And he was like this, coming up, like super tired, and they saw that he had a white beard. Before that, he was dark-haired. He had a white beard. And the bars vanished. And he went into the light in the same shape as the beings that flanked him. Do you get that?
Wow.
And that's why I am doing this work.
Powerful.
And I was like, I had not seen this before. He was exactly like those totally loving souls that came to help him up and go back into innocence.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that was incredible. I love that. It makes me, I want to do a session with you. I'll tell you right now, we're going to do it. 100%. I want to pivot for a second. We're going to do a hard 180 here.
Yeah.
But I would love to talk about your experiences with Antarctica and what you saw there. And I guess a couple of things for me, it's like, how do you because there's a piece of me that wants to think like I love the idea that there is stuff hidden there and there's all this stuff going on. But then I'm like, can that be like? Is it that possible to hide this from everybody? You know, I
To
always
hide,
wonder if it's
to hide what? To hide what?
like the because I've heard from another interview. There's like military stuff going on there.
Oh yeah,
There's
that's what I saw.
and I just wonder, is it possible really to hide that from everybody, or is that just all of us? Maybe just take me through what you saw. Maybe we'll start there with your
Yeah, well, the
experience.
thing is, that is risky because I don't want to add to the fear mongering.
Mm,
And I have seen things that I did like per se.
mm,
Um, and it adds to all the, I've seen some people that warn us about military stuff going on in Antarctica, and how they are really controlling us and all those things. And I must say that I came to the same conclusion. That's what I have seen as well. But what I also see that those people add to the contrasts, to the dualistic game that we are in, by telling how bad they are or how bad the stuff is that they're doing. And they are right. It is absolutely bad, the things that they are doing, the poisoning and the well, it's,
is this a
the
place that you're seeing though of
right.
like maybe like in our world, right? We have the United States and then we got Russia and China. Is this a place where really it's just the most powerful people and they're all on the same team? Or are we talking about the United States is running Antarctica, or is it
No,
totally different?
no, it's okay. So, but first I want to finish my
Sure,
sentence
sure, sure.
because
Yeah, go for it. Go
for
for it.
me it's really important that I don't want to add to the contrasts. What I am interested in is to see that every perpetrator is really an expression in this multi-layered video game that we're in, of a soul, which is pure love. Now, it is super important that we get to understand the reality that we are in, and to see that we are, to get our heads from the soil and start to be awake for the fact that all these bullshit and the false media and all these things and the false political strategies and all those things that is going on. It's important, yes, but we should not lose ourselves in that, because then what we do, the thing is that these people, they want to, let's say, feed on us, and for them it doesn't really matter if we follow them as supporters or if we follow them with our attention because we are so much against them. It's the same thing. It's attention. And where the attention goes, the energy flows. It's as simple as that. And that is why I'm reluctant to tell about Antarctica, because I don't want to add to the fear-mongering. But yes, I saw military stuff going on. I also saw how well those initiatives are being protected by modern weaponry and technology, which is about brainwashing from a distance, remotely, mind, uh, I don't know how they do it, radiating or frequencies or I don't know, to manipulate minds into believing things that are not true, into self-destruction, into destruction of each other. And to be honest, that is a thing that we are seeing in all of our world, aren't we? I mean, if you look at a war, you wonder, how is it possible that so many people can throw bombs? I think I would not be able to do that. So I think that there's a lot of brainwashing going on there, So you see brainwashing all all over this world. So that was, and I saw some of that technology
What made you
there.
go there? Did you hear that, or were you shown that by a being? And then maybe I'll just stop there.
Well,
Is that
okay, so um, I was in this group where we had targets to visit because we wanted to target the same thing to see if we could confirm each other's experiences. You see, and one of the interests that were in the group was let's go to Antarctica because everybody is curious, or most people are curious what's really going on there. Um, so when I popped out during that, let's say, experiment, I really wanted to go there and to saw a few things. Sorry, I was helped by a being. It helped me go places to see places. So I saw labs. I saw other beings. I saw mainly actually other species. Um, I also I also saw a few humans, but they were enslaved and brainwashed and drugged down. But I mean, big time drugged down to do the thing that they had been recruited for. And I also saw other worlds, like lands, maybe not cold and icy, but other, where I guess that other species were living. I also saw that, so that was a different part that was not so obnoxious. And what else did I see? Yeah, I saw a lot of things. Uh, I also saw how our reality here in this world is being organized. That is not per se by humans. That is by a group of, I would say, different other species working on controlling us and putting us into this place. So I would say that the highest levels of the they that we are talking about, they are the executors of those plans. And I have the impression that most of them even are not totally in the loop. Everybody is partly in the loop of what's really happening and what they're doing. So this hierarchy system is really a hierarchy. The most powerful ones that I think are not human know everything, and they take care that the layer under them knows enough to feel powerful over the layers under them. But they don't know everything because really information and knowledge is power, you know? So there is this organization, and then under that, playing out in the reality that we can see with our eyes, there are like different pillars: politics, economics, healthcare, entertainment, influencers, art. So those are like pillars with all those levels of hierarchy within those pillars. Can you picture that?
Mm-hmm.
And sport, professional sport, is also one of the pillars. And we're being controlled via all these pillars. And so the ones that are the causers of a certain war, we think, for instance, that Israel is contra Iran. Is what we see, is what we're being told. But that is just this dualism, this contrast playing out. And us keeping like, gee, yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no. But up there is this organization that has this strategy to keep us busy bickering amongst each other.
Can I ask you this? Are let's say the people at the very top, are they still souls though? And they're just playing a role in this world, and this is part of the game that we're playing, and so like there's this element of, or are they like a virus that infiltrated this simulation kind of thing, and they're like trying to mess it all up?
Yeah, well, no, my impression is that they are also soul expressions.
Mm-hmm. Like no different than us, right? I just happen to be a human, right now. Yeah. Interesting.
So it's very possible, I would say, that we are playing on different layers at the same time, experimenting with certain aspects from all those different views of what we call contrast or duality. Because what we really, I think, came here to do is get more conscious, even. And how do you do that? By contrast. I mean, that is the typical thing I would say of this construct. I'm not sure of that, but that's what I believe. To play with these contrasts. Because, once you know the dark, then really you know better what the light is, or what you are as a light. So these galactic beings that are maybe on top of this particular game, and that have us as puppets on their lines, on the strings, those are also temporary expressions of a soul that is totally love. Yeah, because if you want to find out what the word doesn't come out. Fairness is. If you really want to know what that is, then you also want to experience what it is not. And you want to experience that from the perpetrator's view, and from the victim view, and from the savior view. And you want to see all those angles, from all those angles. So if you can see that is really what's going on, then what you can do is allow everything to be experienced without any judgment. Not saying you did well, or you did good, or you did, but just acceptance of what is.
The way for me that makes sense, yeah, is that if it's God experiencing itself from so many different angles, right? It's like from the perspective of the bad guy, from the good guy, sometimes when I think about this
savior.
stuff, yes, from the savior, from the victim, all of it. Because sometimes when you look at, like, from the United States perspective, you could look at Russia or something, or China, and be like, bad guys. But on the flip side, they're over there looking at us like bad guys, right? Like, and so it's interesting. There is no, like, it's a very interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, the narratives are different, and it depends on which culture or which place of the earth you have been born, which narratives you've been fed. But it all has these same elements. And when you allow that to be, just to be, don't judge it, then there is total acceptance and total love without any judgment. And then you have total consciousness, and the necessity of playing this out falls away. And this is what we're talking about now. That is the macro theater. But in reality, we have that within ourselves as well.
Yes.
Like, you know, the negative emotions and the
I have a
positive.
very dark side. Yeah, to me too, right? And probably I've experienced very dark things that I've done in my past.
Yeah,
And whether
so
in this life or another one.
yeah, exactly. So the mind fuck and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and that what we resonate, that we have resonated within ourselves, is something that we see play out in the outer world as well.
Yeah.
But it's a reflection. It's a reflection of what you have on the inside. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to solve something on the outside, it doesn't help much to hit somebody in the face.
I didn't hear.
Exactly. Like, how does it resonate with you? And the funny thing is, and that this is something that I see in this happen in the sessions a lot. When we get to work on this inner world, the inner residences of a client, then they will see that the next day, some person that they had difficulties with come into their site and they will say something like something totally different from what the client was used to hear from that person. So
Mm-hmm.
the waves are getting out, the ripples of the water, the waves are getting out immediately. When you are from the inside, you work on yourself and on the inside. The work is not to digest or no, to let it be. The total acceptance, Not saying this is I shouldn't do this or guilt or any of that, but acceptance of what is. Dot. You know. Then the love can come in, and then it starts to relax, and you will see that in your surroundings and in how the future of your life will play out. You will start to manifest different realities.
Yeah. My wife and I, so every Thursday night, we do like a no technology, right? So we put our phones away. We have kids, so we don't get a ton of time, and often we're exhausted. So we will default, like most people, to Netflix or something, right? But Thursdays we don't do that. And we were just talking about it, and I love our Thursdays because we like to talk about religion and like why we're here, and like we kind of, it's fun for us, right? And she was asking me the other day, like, this was the night of Charlie Kirk getting shot and assassinated, right? And we're just sitting there like, what is going on? And there's a religious aspect to it. There's all these different things, and she was asking me like what my thought was on it, and I was like, I don't know where this all plays out. I don't know what's gonna happen. All I know though is like I'm gonna focus on me and trying to be the best husband I can be the best father I can be. I want to start to view religious people, Christian, Buddhist, whatever, and just see them as just another way of living their life and as a version of me, and just try as best I can to be the person where someone goes like, whoa, why does this guy live this way? Or they feel like, he seems happy, or he seems content. Why is he like that? And like, but it's an internal job is basically what I said. I was like, I just am going to keep going in, because I don't know. You can get lost in the chaos of what's over at Antarctica, or is World War III going to happen, or I don't know. You can just get lost in it. And it's like, I can't control that. All I can control is literally like, I got a family that I love, and we have good moments. And, today we're going to go to the beach later, and it's like, let's just worry about us and do the best we can. And hopefully that ripples out in the way it's supposed to, and trust that this oneness, this universe, this thing that we're in, there's a plan, and it's all playing out how it's supposed to. Like, I don't know. I get a lot of comfort in that, thinking that way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I could not agree more. You know, and I think that our reality now, with the fake news and the AI manipulating everything. I mean, nowadays you can't really say what is real and what's not. I mean, some time ago I think you couldn't, but we had the illusion that we could. Now we don't have that illusion anymore. So what's there to do? Go inside and feel what's true for you. And where do you do that? Here? Well, maybe not. Go 2 levels down to your heart.
Yes. Yes.
And
That's beautiful. I got one more question for you. I do actually have to bounce. It's on my side. I got to help my lady because she's going to bounce out to yoga. So I want to ask you about beings on the other side because I'm going to start really diving into OBEs again. Like I'm going to really start ramping up my practice. I want to, like you, I'm like, I'm done. I still want to interview people, don't get me wrong, but I want to come with my own thoughts now of like my interviews of like, here's what I experienced. And I just want that. I want that. Is it possible to come across consistent beings, like make friends? Like I read Robert Monroe's books and he talks about he would visit with the same people and it would be like, he called him BB in his book, but did you have any of that?
I'm friends with a lot of beings.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
It's super cool because they are so real. They are so majestic. I mean, the dragons, the griffins, all these unicorns, but they are real, you know, and you can distinguish them from each other because they are so different. And within the species, they're also very different. Like, you know, humans, we have all our own individualities, and that's the same with them. And then you have the cat people, and you have, I mean, I've come across so many of them, and I'm in awe all the time. And every time that I see them, I love to work with them, to be with them. It's.
Oh man, I'm excited. I can't wait. That's going to be my game plan. I want to befriend someone and I want a homie on the other side and I want to hang out with them consistently and have them travel places and explore. I want to explore. That's what I want to do. So, all right. Laura, I am going to book a session with you. I'm just going to do it on my own. So I'm going to go to your website. I'll probably email you or we'll figure that out, but I would love to do that if you're open to that. And can I just say thank you? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I had a lot of fun speaking with you. And thank you for taking time when you're out in paradise.
I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I will let you know when this goes live. Go enjoy yourself. I know you're out on vacation right now, so go relax. Go hang out.
Yeah.
But thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers, Laura. Bye.
Bye.